In this lesson, we're going to see how we can go about saving our audio settings. And so if I press play and modify the settings, and then get out of play mode and press play mode again, we can still hear the music, which implies that the settings weren't saved. So we're going to open Rider, and then we're going to create a new directory called core, and then under that we're going to create another directory called scripts, and then under there we're going to create a directory called runtime, and finally we're going to create a new mono behavior called audio manager, and this is going to hold a reference to our audio mixer. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to load our settings without actually having to open the settings UI. So we're going to grab the constants from our audio settings UI script, and then we are going to set the audio mixer group, and we're going to look for the same key in our player prefs, and if it exists, then we're going to use the value. If it doesn't, then we're going to default to 1. And then again, we're working with decibels, so we're going to have to multiply it by 20. Now we're going to repeat the process for the other two audio groups. And so music and sound effects. Now in our audio settings class, we are going to set the value of the slider based on our saved player prefs. And again, if they don't exist, then we're just going to default to 1. Now we're going to create functions to actually save the values using player prefs. We're going to repeat the process for our music volume and our sound effect volumes. And then we're also going to create a function to reset the values to whatever they were saved as previously. Now we're going to open up our settings UXML file, and we're going to drag a visual element onto the canvas, call it footer, and then we're going to drag 2 buttons. We're going to call the first one save button, and then we're going to call the second one reset button. In Rider, we're going to create a new custom control for our settings UI. And so this custom control is going to have all of the specific settings. So again, we're going to use the UXML factory. And then we're going in the constructor, we are going to store a reference to our audio settings. Now we need to clone the tree, and so we'll do the exact same thing we're doing for the audio settings, except use the settings.uxml. Now we're going to get a reference to our save button. Then I'm going to create a function called save and a function called reset. Now when the save button is clicked, we're going to call the save function. And the save function is going to call save on our audio settings. And then similarly for the reset function, we're going to call the audio settings reset function. We're going to grab a reference to our reset button, and again when it's clicked we'll call reset. Now we're going to open up our main menu and we're going to delete the UXML file, and instead we're going to use the custom control. So like before, we're going to make the position absolute, and then we're going to make all the position values 0 so that it spans the entire canvas, and then we're going to give it a background so that we don't see the main menu behind it. And we're going to want to set the display to none by default. In Rider, we're going to open our main menu script, and we're going to get a reference to our new control, and rather than storing it as a visual element, we'll store it as the actual settings element. Next, we're going to create our audio manager. And we're going to set the reference to our audio mixer. Now if we press play, we hear the music, and then we turn it all the way down, save our settings, exit play mode, press play again, and we can still hear the music, so we have a bug. I'm still not entirely sure why this was required, but if we change the awake to start and try again, you can see that all of a sudden we don't have any volume. It's saved correctly, and then if I bring it all the way up, we start hearing the volume again. Can reset it, and then if we set both to around 0.5 and press play again, and then open our settings, you can see that it's saved correctly.